Hello everyone and welcome back to the week 4 of my Letterboxd diary. This week we don't have a theme but still some great movies to talk about. And without further ado, let's start with the first movie. This was a very wholesome movie. At its heart, it tells the story of two cousins and their journey of bonding while celebrating their grandmother's life. The narrative beautifully intertwines themes of troubled personalities, deep desires, jealousy, and a sense of being lost, accompanied by a tour showing the effects of World War II. While the story itself is touching, the film truly shines as a showcase for the immense acting talent of Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. Both actors deliver raw and authentic performances, expertly balancing emotional vulnerability and restraint. Their portrayals of being human feels genuine and relatable, driving viewers into the characters' layered inner worlds. This movie also marks Eisenberg's directorial debut, and I must say his vision and storytelling approach are impressive. The shots he uses to convey emotions and moments of connection are thoughtful and satisfying. Already a well-established actor, Eisenberg shows great promise as a director, and I can see him making a strong mark in his new role. The film feels deeply personal, radiating warmth and sincerity. While I couldn't relate to every aspect of the story, Kieran Culkin's performance in particular left a lasting impression. His portrayal of Benji as a deeply tortured soul is both mesmerizing and moving. In one scene, Culkin can be hilarious and the joy of the room, and then, all of a sudden, with one bad word, he makes his presence as a bomb that's about to explode. His performance captures the fragile balance of joy and pain that defines his character, making it one of the most compelling aspects of the film. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou was one of the least memorable Wes Anderson movies I watched. There were aspects where the film shone, the set and the costume design were exceptional, the way Anderson shot the underwater scenes were creative, and of course the stellar cast delivered performances that held the quirky charm we associate with his movies. However, the story and its pacing were a bit tiring for my taste, and the action scenes in general wasn't doing it for me. If this had been my first Wes Anderson film, I might have concluded that action simply isn't his forte. But that's not entirely true when you look at his filmography. Take the Grand Budapest Hotel for example. It incorporates action scenes while retaining Anderson's signature aesthetic, adding charm and creativity to the trope. However, we can say after a while his movies get this similar Wes Anderson-y cinematography to them. And even though The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou contains this vibe time to time, it also has a similar vibe to the Darjeeling Limited. And if you remember it from my December video, I said that was the least Wes Anderson-y Wes Anderson movie I've ever watched. So, will I recommend this movie? Honestly, I'm not sure. Probably not. However, if you're looking for a Wes Anderson film that feels a little different from his usual fare, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou and the Darjeeling Limited might be worth checking out. This film was in my watch list for the longest time. I always knew I'd like it, but for some reason I couldn't push myself to watch it. Until now. I absolutely loved it. It's one of the best dark comedies I've ever seen, and next to its hilarity, it packs a lot more emotion as well. For multiple scenes, I shed tears. At one point, I thought I wouldn't be able to watch it all in one sitting, but that couldn't have been further from the truth. I was glued to the screen the entire time. Families can be tough sometimes, but it's still family, and this movie is maybe one of the best examples for that. Every single member of this family is fucked up on their own right, except for Olive. She's great. They seem disjointed and incompatible, but still, they are a family. Besides their anger and their fights, they keep on being a family, and that is the most important part. Family is something that we don't get to choose at birth, but eventually we learn to live with them. The movie is built with a perfect cast for each role. I think Paul Dano is the best character throughout. He doesn't get to say much, and I mean that literally.
Please, you get him to pull over, please! Richard, pull over the car! It's alright.
But when he does, it is so fun to listen to him. Toni Collette was maybe the most underrated character for me. I think next to the other characters, she seems less of a standout, but she was a star on her role, and I'm talking about both the actor and the character. The pacing and narrative kept me hooked from start to finish. It was just so much fun to watch. There were some stupid scenes that kinda threw me off though, because for the most part this is a greatly grounded movie and it handles the comedy within perfectly. but those scenes kills the realism aspect of it just a little. That's why I cut that half star. But other than that, it was perfect. Also at the end, the film does a great job at taking a swing on how stupid and creepy these beauty pageants are, and they literally are. I was very uncomfortable watching these little girls being used like that, and for what? Stuff like that not only put kids in grave danger against the predators, but also not letting kids be kids. Kids should run around, be stupid, and carefree. I highly recommend this movie. It might even crack my top 4 on Letterboxd. Frank was different, and that can be said for both the movie and the character it's named after. It's a fun and thought-provoking story that works on multiple levels. First, we met John, an inspiring songwriter. He's the kind of guy who tries way too hard to be creative but falls short, constantly pushing himself towards something he just doesn't seem to possess naturally. Then he spontaneously meets a band that plays in his hometown, and I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce the name of it. The contrast between John and this band is undeniable. John is just a guy who can play the keys and desperately tries to convince himself and others of his creativity. He does his everything to be acknowledged by the band members. John's point of view and some of the band's members differentiates. For the other band members, their art is for the art's sake. Their unconventional experimental music is what makes them insert band name. But for John, he only seems like he wants attention of others, and this is visible with both his interactions with the band members and the public. When he talks to Frank and Frank praises him, he's on cloud 9. But when Clara intervenes and takes Frank away from him, or when she tells John who he truly is, John's frustration and insecurities are impossible to miss. John's deep desire for popularity and belonging stifles his creativity. He's so focused on being noticed that he misses the point entirely. But for the other band members, it's exactly the contrary. These are people, even for their flaws, they are in peace within themselves. They want to be seen by people, sure, but they want those people to be their true fans, the people that are in the same wavelength with them. But for John, popularity is popularity, and it seems that that's the only thing he wants. The film also does a fantastic job addressing mental health struggles and how people with mental illnesses should be treated, with compassion and understanding. Michael Fassbender's performance as Frank is outstanding. Even though his face isn't shown, he conveys so much emotion through his voice and body language, capturing Frank's complexity beautifully.
Flattered grin.
Stop saying your facial expressions out loud. It's extremely annoying.
Frank is one of those movies that after you watch it, you wonder how has nobody ever heard of this movie. It is deeply underrated and more people should give it a shot. And we are done with the week 4 of my Letterboxd diary. Thank you so much everyone following this series. Next week we will be passing the 2/10 of our 100 movie challenge, and if I could manage this pace, we might have to add another challenge to our list. If you liked the video, please press the like button, and subscribing to the channel is always much appreciated. I will see you next week. Bye.